and welcome back to BookTube with Amy. Today is going to be my part 3 of my library glow up, and today we're going to be going through all my hardback books and deciding what we are going to unhaul, if I'm unhauling any. And I have been totally dreading filming this because all my hardback books are still in boxes behind my shelves, so we are going to need to pull them all out and go through them all together. It's going to be terrible, but I thought I'm probably going to need to film it over the course of a couple of days, so I'm off work for a few days in a row this week. Thought I might as well just get it out the way. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring it out a box at a time and we'll go through it. Obviously some of these books will also be Simon, so I'm not going to be getting rid of any of his, but I'm probably going to need to do this over the course of a couple of days, so if my clothes change halfway through filming this video, you know it is a new day. And let me know if there's anything in here that you are wanting that I am getting rid of, and I'll happily post it to you so that it can go to a loving home. But let's just jump in, because if I don't, I'm never doing it. So I actually managed to go through all those boxes in one filming session, which I am rather impressed with. And I have not a huge amount of books that I've decided to get rid of, but a fair few that will be better elsewhere and off my shelves, so I'm fine with it. I also added some books to the shelves that I might want to pick up at some point soon, so that was cool. There was a lot of books in there that I had totally forgotten about, because I am such a visual person, and if I can't see it when I come in to pick a book, then I just forget it exists. So that was good. So let's see what I am deciding to unhaul. The first two books that I'm going to get rid of is Wicked Saints and Ruthless Gods by Emily A. Duncan. I have not read these books, however Emily A. Duncan's behaviour on Twitter and some of the anti-Semitic plot points that are in these books just haven't been handled great. I think that if you're writing outside your own experience and people within that community are coming to you with concerns and issues, that you as an author need to listen and you need to accept that to a point. Emily A. Duncan did not accept that and she lashed out. She got very defensive. Some of the comments that she's made on Twitter to fans as well around sexual assault and some topics of incest just are completely and utterly inappropriate, and I think that people are entitled to their feelings and their opinions, and if you're choosing to have these subjects in your books and people, victims of these crimes, feel like you're glorifying that, then I think that it is fair and valid for them to feel that way. And again, she didn't respond with, you know, I'll take that on board. She responded with vitriol and abuse. So I will not read these and will never talk about Emily A. Duncan on my channel, other than to inform you why in my opinion you shouldn't read her books. And so yes, I'm going to get rid of them. I have seen on Twitter that she has since apologised and says, you know, she's taking a break from social media, blah blah blah, so that she can work on herself and how she handles things better, and that's great for her, but I don't think that it takes away from what she has done, and I am a actions speak louder than words kind of person, so you know, a Twitter apology just isn't going to cut it for me to want to pick up her books or for me to support her as an author. So we'll see what she does in the years to come, whether or not she actually does change things, and if she uses her platform to try and make a difference for some of the communities that she has marginalised, and if she does not, then she's donezo for me. So I'm getting rid of these, which is a shame, because, you know, the books actually sound good, but I'm one of these people who can't separate an author and their work. They are a package deal for me, so can't support. Catch you later. Then I'm going to unhaul Monstrous Heart by Claire McKenna, and this is actually a signed edition as well for anybody who would like this. I received this in one of my Chronicle book boxes 2 years ago maybe, and I tried to read it and I ended up DNFing it. I didn't enjoy just how casually they spoke about rape and sexual assault within this book, and like it was almost just accepted that because our main character was a woman that she is going to be raped or sexually assaulted, and I didn't feel like there was a need for it. People were like overly aggressively sexual. I don't even think that I read any more than like the first 100 pages, but I DNF'd it. I didn't enjoy it. However, if you are fine with topics like that just being casually discussed, then it might be something that you are interested in. It just wasn't for me, because personally, like, I don't mind those topics being discussed if there's something to do with the actual story. I feel like the topics weren't anything to do with the actual story, so there was absolutely no need for that. Just like casual violence against women being accepted just is no for me. And then I'm going to get rid of my copy of Ship of Magic, The Live Ship Traders by Robin Hobb. I read this a couple of years ago and I just didn't enjoy it, so no point in it taking up space on my shelf. It is a chonky boy, so it's going to go. I tried to read all the first books and all like the wee Robin Hobb trilogies, and I just can't get on board at all. And I know that like I'm going to be banned for BookTube at this point because I don't like V.E. Schwab, I don't like Six of Crows, like I don't like Robin Hobb. Nobody's going to be my pal, and that's fine. Just I didn't like it. And speaking of V.E. Schwab, I'm going to unhaul my copy of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I don't know what edition this is. I think it's just like the standard UK hardback edition. These are the end pages, and then the foiling on the inside, because I know there's like a bajillion editions of this book now and people collect certain editions. So if this is one that you do not have and you would like it, let me know, I'll send you it. Glad you loved it, I just really didn't. And then I'm going to get rid of You Know You Want This by Kristen Ruppinen. This is a short story collection and it sounded interesting to me. It was supposed to tell like loads of different stories about women and like all the different facets of women's personalities. So like sometimes they were the good guy, sometimes they were the bad guy, sometimes they were a bit evil, sometimes they were XYZ. And I think like the point of it was just to show that like women are just people, you know, and they don't need to fall into like a certain subcategory or act a certain way. We're just people like you guys. But it just fell a wee bit short for me. I didn't find that the funny stories were particularly funny. I didn't like any of the women in here either, like, and that's fine, and I know that there are certainly stories in here where you're not supposed to like the women, and I think that that's fine as well, because the author's obviously showing that, you know, we don't need to be wee meek, mild mannered people, like we can have feelings and opinions and know everybody needs to like us, and that's fine. But like no single character in this book was written well. Some of the stories were just a bit boring as well. There was some stuff in here that I felt like was just in there for shock value, and it didn't really have anything to do with the particular story that it was in. I just didn't enjoy it at all. The author got really popular with a short story I believe she published online called Cat Person, and apparently that went viral, and I didn't read that story, so I didn't pick this book up for that reason. But if you are somebody who has read Cat Person and you liked it, then you might enjoy this book. The writing just wasn't for me, and short stories I feel are very hit and miss, and this was just like a complete miss. Then I'm going to get rid of Songs from the Deep by Kelly Powell. I read this last year. It's basically like a cosy murder mystery with mermaids, and I only picked it up for the mermaid aspect, and there's no really enough mermaids in it. It is mainly a cosy mystery set by the sea, so I just didn't get out of it what I was wanting to get out of it, and I just didn't really have a great time with it because I was expecting it to be like a mermaid book. Like, there's legit mermaids on the cover, and there wasn't really mermaids in the story. So I'm going to unhaul this. If you do like a cosy mystery though, this is maybe something that you would enjoy. Then I'm getting rid of another chunky boy, and this is The Labyrinth of Spirits by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. This is actually the 4th book in a series, and Simon bought this for me a few years ago when we went down to London for his 30th, and none of us realised it was like the 4th part in a series when we picked it up, and since then I have been informed that this is the 4th part in a series, and I have bought the other parts. However, I've purchased the first 3 parts in paperback and not hardback, so I'm going to unhaul my hardback copy of this so that I can repurchase it in paperback, because I want my set to match, which I appreciate is spoiled off me, but it's just what I want. Then I'm going to get rid of Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother by Amy Chua. I read this book a few years ago and it was really interesting. It's basically about the differences in parenting styles from a Western perspective and an Asian perspective, and so our main character basically divulges how she was raised and how she's choosing to raise her child, and it talks a wee bit about her relationship with her mum and her relationship with her child and what she is hoping to get out of both relationships based on her parenting style. And I just thought it was really interesting when I had read it, but it's not something that I will ever read again, and I got out of it what I wanted to get out of it. It was a really interesting book, but I'm never going to pick it up again, so I'm not going to have it sitting on my shelf. Then I'm going to unhaul this copy of Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, because, like, no joke, I've got about 3 copies of this, I think. So I'm going to get rid of this one because I've got my leather brown classic edition from my complete work set, which I am obviously going to keep, and then I also have a vintage penguin cloth bound classic edition that matches all my classic editions, so I'm just going to get rid of this one even though it's an absolutely gorgeous edition. It's beautiful, but go and get rid. I don't need 3, it's fine, we're alright. Last 2 finally, so I'm going to throw the book away apparently. I'm going to unhaul Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan Maguire. This, I was going to keep it, right, because it holds a wee bit of a special place in my heart. So this was like the first book review that I ever did on BookTube, and I buddy read it with Kit from Kit's World. It was also my first buddy read, so it popped my cherry on so many levels, but it just wasn't an enjoyable book for me. I really didn't like it. I thought that the world wasn't developed enough. I mean, I appreciate it's a small book, but I just didn't feel like the world was developed enough. I didn't connect with any of the characters. It's just no for me. I know that these series are so beloved on BookTube, so again, I'm getting cancelled, but I just really didn't enjoy it. So I'm going to unhaul this, and I'm not unhauling it because it will only take up a lot of room on my shelf. I'm just unhauling it because I didn't enjoy it. Lastly, I'm going to unhaul Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. I actually DNF'd this book. I've still got it page marked, so I just got to over 100 pages and I DNF'd it. It just wasn't for me. It's just an odd book. I can't tell if it's like psychological thriller, psychological horror, part mystery. Like, it's just a bit of an all-rounder. Like a wee bit dark academia in there. It just wasn't for me. Every time I tried to read this book, I'd just like disassociate, because your main character disassociates a lot, and so I just could never take in what I was reading. And then I actually purchased the audiobook as well, because I thought maybe if I focused on the audiobook as opposed to doing it physically, that I'd enjoy it and get on with the story a wee bit more. But the same thing kept happening with the audiobook. Like, I ended up just zoning out and concentrating on other things, like and just staring into space, not really paying attention to what was happening. It just wasn't for me. That doesn't mean that it will only be for anybody else, but I do need it on my shelf. So that is my last unhaul. Hopefully the next video you will see the library glow up will be some footage of us clearing the room and the guys actually coming in with some of our shelves and getting all of that sorted. We're very excited about it. We're having some delays with it at the moment just because Brexit has like really made it difficult for people to get supplies, and the prices of everything have gone up, and the wait on getting certain woods and fittings is taking a bit longer than usual, but hopefully it'll not be too much longer before we actually get it sorted. But yes, this is my last unhaul. Please again let me know if you want any of the books that I'm getting rid of. I will happily send them to you so that they're going to a loving home and they're going to be sitting on somebody else's shelves who are really going to appreciate and love them, unlike me. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying everything that you are reading at the moment, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!